Hey guys, Dayln here, and I know I haven't really uploaded a lot of videos lately, but I've really been not really making a lot of videos lately just because of school and stuff, so I've been really busy. But I'm gonna try and get this video out to you. It's basically a guide on how to do the Brink of Extinction boss fight. Now, I did do the entire quest, I think the day after day of release, or day of release, I don't remember. But I did the boss fight, well, I did the entire quest. And actually, I really enjoyed that quest. A thing with me is I actually really do enjoy the lore of RuneScape, but, you know, reading through all that text in quests is just really irritating, and so I really hate doing it, so I never do it. But, you know, being able to turn on the voices and listen to that storyline, I actually really do enjoy doing that. I did that with the Rune Mysteries and the Rune Memories quest, and I've done it with the Brink of Extinction, and I really like that feature that you can do that. But anyways, back to basically the guide on what I'm going to do. Basically, I'm going to just tell you some of the gears and stuff you may want to bring for Brink of Extinction, you know, stuff you may want to bring, you know, just some general tips. This is not going to be like a really uber in-depth, like, this is how you do it, because there's really many different ways to do it. I'm just going to show you the way that I personally did it, and personally one of the ways I think is the easiest. So anyways, let's just get to it. Okay, so I'm going to talk briefly about the recommended skills you're going to want to have. Please take note that any part in this kind of thing you can up or downgrade. You don't necessarily have to have all of these things. I will tell you the things that you must have to be able to do this boss fight, but a lot of this, if you don't have what I had for this or what I recommend, you don't necessarily have to have it. So I recommend high defense, strength, and attack. If you're using the melee, you don't have to use melee. I'm going to be showing you in this fight, but you can also use mage. Range is not recommended. 96 herb lore for overloads. I personally did them without overloads, so you don't need them, but definitely will speed up your kill and make your chance of death less. You will have to have at least 43 prayer for protect from melee, because if you don't use it, he will the Tokar Hawk will KO you very quickly. Ideally you want 95 for turmoil, but not necessary. You can get along with just 43. You must have really a good concentration, because a lot of it it's like split-second reactions. You have to be able to do things on split-second, or you just basically have to make sure that you watch your prayer, you watch the plates on the floor, which I'll explain later, and you watch when you need to stun the boss. A stun ability, you must have one of those. Any of them, you can use like backhand, kick, binding shot, there's a mage one as well. But you have to have a stun ability, because if you don't have one, he will continuously heal throughout the entire fight at about 50% health. He'll walk under the sacred lava and heal himself back to full health, so you have to stun him before he gets back there. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but you must have a stun ability. That is definitely something that you have to have. Okay, on screen I'm showing you the gear that I used for it. You don't necessarily have to use this, and you can up and downgrade as you see fit. This is just what I used. You know. I used the Reverence Aura just to conserve a little bit of prayer. The Tokar Hawk does drain your prayer, as well as does his champions. I believe that the Pendant's Aura is the best aura to use. If you have that, Vampirism I think could be also useful, or Reverence, and those would be the three that I would recommend. I'm using the Soul Wars cape. You can use the Tokar the Rhino cape, whatever it's called. You can use that if you want to have some extra, you know, damage or whatnot. I used it because it gives you some prayer bonuses, and that was helpful. I used a Glory. I don't have a Fury. I believe a Fury, or maybe even one of the Ceradomin whatever's amulets you could use. I use a Chaotic Maul. Now you could use like a God Sword, a Ceradomin Sword. The best weapon to use would be your best crush weapon you can use. Maul to me is ideal. You can also upgrade to Darox if you choose to, because Darox or really you could do it. I've heard that it's actually really good, because Darox has decently high defense, and the lower hit points you get, the higher you hit, so you're gonna have really great damage output, but the chance of death is higher. So if you want to risk it, you know, go for the Darox. That's also just as good. I use Goliath gloves. You could use really the Colomancer gloves or whatnot. I just decided that I wanted to have, you know, the maximum kind of bonuses to do this fight. The Toggle Zo ring, of course, it gives you extra bonuses against the Zar creatures, so that was helpful. Helm of Net. You could use like Fighter Hat or Torva or whatever. Net Helm is really a very good helmet to use, very versatile. Bandos, chest antacets, you know, You could probably use, once again, Darox or maybe Torax, or if you're going to upgrade to, like, Torva or whatever. Bandos seems to work just fine, And then Dragon Boots. I don't have Steadfast or whatever. You could definitely use Steadfast or whatnot. So really, that's what I would recommend using. Once again, guys, you can up or downgrade depending on what your budget is or whatever. But this is just like, I would basically recommend just having a crush weapon. That's what I found to be one of the best weapons to use, because it takes down the Takar, like, Ketsil really quickly, because its weakness is Crush, and since the boss has no weaknesses, but range really isn't recommended against him. But so anyways, yeah, I'll move on. Alright, now for inventory you may want to bring. This is basically what I brought. You can up or downgrade to see how you see fit to use and what kind of pots and whatever you want to use. I brought a whole bunch of prayer potions, since the Tokar Hawk does drain your prayer. You could definitely use prayer renewals if you wanted to. I just didn't happen to have any, and I didn't really see the point of buying them, The rest of my inventory was Rocktails. Rocktails is the best food that I can personally use. You will want to bring the best food. You may want to bring Ceradomin brews. Personally, I didn't really need them, because, well, I think the way that Cera brews work now, that they are still the best food, but per dose they're not, so you're gonna have to see if you want to use those. I don't really think you really need to use them if you have access to, like, either Rocktails or Sharks. Definitely it would be just a lot easier to use Rocktails, but of course you don't have to. You can use whatever you want. You also may want to think about bringing overloads or extremes or whatever, definitely, if you have them, as it will speed up your kill and lower your chance of death. I use Dreadnips as well. If you don't have them, you don't have to bring them, but they are very helpful, because it's just doing the extra damage, like making sure that you're not gonna die, because you have that extra Dreadnip damage out there. So I'll be moving on now. Okay, so at the very beginning of the fight, make sure that you activate Protect from melee, as the boss will hit very high on you. He can hit maybe 4 or 5k on you if you don't have that on, so make sure you have that on. As soon as the ranger appears, make sure he is a priority to kill, because as you're not praying range, he will hit his full damage on you, and of course you don't want that. So make him, as soon as he appears, just make sure you kill him as quick as you can. As you can see, the plates on the floors are glowing orange, and when they glow orange, you do not want to stand on them, as they will hit you for very high damage very quickly, so you can definitely get KO'd if you stand on them for too long. Make sure that, personally, I used minimum graphics because it was a lot easier to tell when they were about to activate. You could use any graphics you want. I can run full graphics on this fight. I did it. I died that big, but yeah. You could use any graphics, but I would recommend minimum graphics. I'll talk about these stuns in a second. Basically, what you want to have on your action bar, you want to have abilities, especially basic abilities, that do not take very long. Like, you don't want to have, if you're using magic, like Asphyxiate, because that does take game ticks to perform, and you don't know when these plates are going to glow, so they may you maybe end up standing on them where you're doing like a very long kind of animation, and they could end up killing you. So make sure you have abilities that are very like short in succession. When his Tokar champions come out, just ignore them. Really, they don't really hit that much on you, and they'll all die once the Tokar Hawk dies. So just focus your energies on the boss. You don't really need to worry about them. Maybe if they're causing you a lot of damage, yeah, but I definitely wouldn't really recommend it, because it's really a waste of time. Okay, so basically I'm going to talk about the stuns right now, because that's kind of more in-depth. With the stuns, you want to make sure that you have to have a stun ability to do this fight, because as you can see, it'll probably be coming up a little soon. In your chat box, you will see some red writing that says the Tokar Hawk is able to heal. And when it says that, make sure you stun him right there, because he will walk towards that sacred lava flow, and he can heal himself back up to full, and that will just prolong your fight and increase your chance of death. So make sure you're very careful about that. The way that I really found it easy to tell, because he will not get out of that stun before your stun recharges. So make sure your prayer never drops. Always watch the plates on the floor, and also always be watching when your stun recharges, because after it recharges, the Tokar Hawk will be able to heal fairly soon after that. So as soon as your stun recharges, I would definitely refrain from using abilities until he says that he's going to regenerate, because if you happen to have used an ability right before then, and then your stun is like doing that really short recharge, he may miss that ability, that stun, and you may die because of it, or he may heal because of it, and you could die because of that. That's really what, like, a lot of the tips to this fight. Basically, first priority, make sure your prayer never drops, because he will drop you very quickly if that happens. Never stand on the hot plates on the floor, because those will hit you for constant pretty massive damage. As you can see in this clip, I mean, I got hit multiple times by that because I wasn't paying attention. But, you know, just make sure you're not standing on that for very long periods of time, otherwise you will die. I died a couple times because of it. And remember that you need to stun him before he recharges. Basically, the easiest way to discern when that's going to happen is when your stun recharges. You'll see the red message in the chat box. Just stun him and you should be fine. So anyways, that's really the boss fight in a nutshell. Like I said, this isn't really going to be very, very in-depth, because honestly, the boss fight, a lot of it is just experience. I died like 3 or 4 times on it. But after I really got a hang of the, you know, just the mechanics of the fight, it really wasn't very, very difficult. So as you can see, boss dead, you know, you just go through the end cutscenes and whatever, and so there you go. Boss is finished. You know, I'll just share a few things at the end of the video, and then we'll be finished. Okay, so I'm just gonna recap basically what I said in this video. You know, basically make sure that you have ideal stats for this. I mean, you could do it definitely without the stats that I had, since I'm maxed. I'm sure that this Grandmaster quest isn't just for maxed players, but it is helpful to have those higher levels. The fight itself, you know, make sure your prayer never drops. Make sure you never stand, or you don't stand on those plates for prolonged periods of time, and make sure that you always stun him before he heals. Basically, that's the entire fight, and that's why it takes a good amount of concentration to do this fight, because the fight itself, like, it's not that hard, honestly. Like, unlike Nomad, where you're taking or at least the way Nomad used to be, when you're always taking these massive damages and there was really no way to avoid it. There's ways to avoid the damage you'll get in this fight. It just takes a lot of, like, precision and concentration to be able to do that. So the fight itself is not hard, but the concentration required to do said fight is a little difficult. So really that's what it is. I mean, the boss fight, not very difficult, not very hard. The Grandmaster quest, in my opinion, was a really good quest. I really enjoyed doing it, and I hope you guys do too. You know, if you have any problems, you know, you can PM me on RuneScape or just leave a comment or whatever, that's fine. I definitely will get back to you as soon as I can. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this guide, and I hope it helped you a little bit. You know, if it didn't, I'm fairly sorry. But if it did, you know, great. That's really what I'm here for, trying to help out people on what things that they may not know how to do. So anyways, guys, I'll see you later. Thanks. Bye.